Your name and DOC number.
My name is Donato C. Gentile, and the DOC number I had on the sentence that I was originally sentenced on, lawfully in the state of Louisiana, is 610610.
Thank you. Just real quick, do you have your revocation questionnaire?
Yeah, I have this, it's revocation hearing, parole hearing acknowledgement receipt, but that is it. And I have this piece of paper and this paper. That's it. That's all I have.
Okay. Mr. Kelsey.
We're going to put a copy of that parole revocation questionnaire on the screen for him. Can you see that on the screen, the parole revocation questionnaire?
Yes, I can, sir.
Can you see where you refused to sign it? Can you see that?
Yes, but that is because I'm not in. What is it? First off, the sentence that they say that I have, I do not have, sir.
Right. I'm just saying this. You refused to sign this question. No,
but I wouldn't have signed that because that goes along with the stipulation that they have of the sentence that I supposedly have on it.
Okay. All right. Let me read some information to the record. We're here for parole revocation parole revocation hearing. I'll read some rule violations. You can plead guilty, not guilty, guilty with a statement, or not guilty with a statement. That we'll ask you some questions. You can respond at the end. We'll make a vote. Do you understand the process?
Good enough.
Okay. Mr. Donato Gentile, DOC number 610610. Rule number 2. You failed to report to your parole officer in July, August, September, and October. How do you plead?
Not guilty. I did not have the sentence that they say I was not.
Okay, wait. Just a not guilty or guilty. We're going to discuss it. We're going to give you all the time to talk. Okay.
Okay.
Now we're going to ask you for guilty, not guilty, guilty with a statement, or not guilty with a statement. Okay.
Not
so
guilty
you say
with a statement.
not okay. Not guilty with a statement. All right, we're going to get back. Number 3, you absconded supervision and your whereabouts were unknown until you were arrested on 10/13/21 at Dallas County, Texas Sheriff's Office. You did not obtain written permission from the parole office before leaving the state of Louisiana, traveling or living in the state of Louisiana. How do you plead to that?
Not guilty with a statement.
Not guilty with a statement. Okay. You failed to obtain and provide proof of gainful lawful employment despite having an employment placement through the JRI Exit 318 program. How do you plead?
Not guilty with a statement.
Not guilty with a statement. Okay. Number 7. You failed to respond regarding an update on your psychiatric evaluation 7/8/21 and 7/9/21, whether you wanted to transfer your parole down south. You were further advised that the Exit 318 team could help you. How do you plead?
Not guilty with a statement.
Okay.
It's right on here.
Number 8, on 6/15/2021, you refused to go to Brentwood Mental Health Hospital. Brentwood was unable to provide care, so you were referred to Shreveport Behavioral Health on 6/21/21. You failed to make contact and answer calls to schedule your assessment. How do you plead?
Not guilty with a statement.
Okay. You failed to register with the fire marshal on your simple arson charge. You failed to participate in JR Exit 13. You were ultimately discharged from 318 on 7/20/21 before the 6-month completion period. How do you plead?
Not guilty with a statement.
Okay. Number 9, on 6/28/2021, you requested to see your court records and documents. You're instructed to report first Thursday of July. You failed to report after 8/28/2021. Visits to approved listed residents in JR Exit 318 housing were not possible because you moved sometime around 6/28/2021 without prior permission from your parole officer. You failed to provide change of residence. How do you plead?
Not guilty with a statement.
Okay. And you never made any payments towards your parole supervision fees. Your payments began 8/1/2021, and you were $189 in arrears. How do you plead?
Not guilty with a statement.
Okay. Now, do you can you read right, sir?
Yes, sir.
And did you request appointed counsel at your preliminary hearing?
The parole officer brought a public defender up with somebody, but she tried showing me paperwork that was completely false and wrong.
Okay.
So I
So
said,
you,
no, I
you
cannot.
didn't, you said, okay, so you didn't want one. Okay,
Nope.
just want to make sure.
Nope.
You didn't want counsel is what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't need any more of a relocation or a continuation of this. I want to get this done today so I can leave today, please.
Yes, sir. Well, would you answer Ms. Cheryl Renatza, please?
Thank you,
Good morning, Mr. Gentile.
ma'am.
My name is Cheryl Renatza. Your case has been assigned to me, so I'll start out asking you some questions. Now, you were released on good time supervision. Is that correct?
Ma'am, well,
Yes or no?
I was released because on a sentence that I didn't have, ma'am.
No, you were released on good time supervision on June the 11th of last year, 2021.
What is the sentence that you have me in the Department of Corrections for Louisiana, ma'am?
For the crime?
Yes.
Production or manufacture of Schedule 2 methamphetamines and simple arson.
What is the court that I received that sentence in, please? Because I can't get anybody to give me that information.
Well, let me just, I believe that the parole officer gave you his card so you could come to the office and look at all the paperwork, and you didn't show up.
Ma'am, I did show up. The video will show that I did. She took fingerprints from me and I left. Now, what I want it stated for the record, what court I received a 5-year, 4-month, and 18-day sentence on, if you could, please. Because I've been unable to find any paperwork that says legally, officially in the state of Louisiana, I have that type of sentence, or that I was sentenced in front of a Judge Schwartz, which I never was. I was in front of Judge Perkins in 2012. My ID number is 610610. That's from 2012. If I got sentenced 9/25/19, that's the same exact day I saw St. Tammany.
St. Tammany, yeah, St. Tammany.
But that is not.
You were sentenced September 25th, 2019.
Ma'am, I was in front of the parole board then. I haven't been in front of a judge in Louisiana since 2012, ma'am. And any judge, any courtroom, anywhere in the United States. They gave me 2 months more, and I was supposed to leave 11/27/2019. I never did. I went from St. Tammany Parish to Cottonport and then the Hunts. They gave me a rap sheet that had the same ID number and same different time on it for 2 different charges. Simple arson is not a felony. You don't get 5 years, 4 months, and 18 days. I was never sentenced.
Wait, look, we're not the sentencing authority here.
But I'm not saying.
So I'm showing, excuse me, sir. I'm showing you were in the St. Tammany Parish Jail in March 2013, which is probably the conviction you're speaking of. You were transferred to Hunt July of that year. Then you went to, it says Rayburn.
I went to Rayburn first.
For a few, yeah, and then back to Hunt. And then you were on supervision. Then you absconded.
Ma'am, I did not abscond.
And you were revoked.
Ma'am, that was, and then what sentence was that right there? For
And,
5 years?
you were absconded to Oklahoma.
All right, so is
So
that
I'm not here to debate whether or not you're on supervision. Louisiana says you are, sir.
But ma'am, I would like to see the minimus of the court that I got sentenced in for 5 years, 4 months, 18 days, please.
Your parole officer had that information for
No,
you,
she
and you did not show up.
Everything is on camera.
Sir, I'm not here to argue with you.
But ma'am, I'm arguing my freedom because I am not supposed to be on this type of sentence. I don't have.
Okay, well, let me ask you this.
Thank you.
You were supposed to, whether or not you believe you're on supervision, Louisiana says you are, and that's what I'm going
Louisiana
with.
cannot produce.
You were supposed to go to the behavioral health center. Why didn't you go?
I did go. I went to Brentwood. It shows on camera. I sat in a little room. I filled out the questionnaire. I talked to a doctor or a specialist, and they said there was nothing they could do for me there. So I went and made another counseling appointment. I went to LSU where they pumped me full of intravenous drugs and threatened to shoot me up with medications I did not need. That's also on video. I would like to speak to outside law enforcement today and discontinue this conversation until I speak to law, please, if you could, please.
Fine, sir.
I am not.
Sure.
I am not
Mr. Kelsey.
I am not on this sentence for
Okay.
5 years, 4 months, 18 days.
Okay, thank you. So you want to discontinue this, so we'll continue this hearing.
Outside law enforcement here today, please.
We're here to continue.
I should not have been here. I
Okay,
do not have a
we'll
5 year,
continue this
4 months,
hearing
18 days sentence.
until a later
Thank you,
date.
sir. Have a good
Okay?
day.
Okay, thank you. It is
I'm not supposed to
8:42
be
and we'll
here.
adjourn
I
it.
want to go. There is no sense.
Cato will continue this hearing. Thank you.
Whoa, and we are about to watch the next hearing that takes place a few months later. Do you think it's going to be any different? You know, Mark Twain has a quote that I think fits in quite nicely here. Poor Miss Renata, she's trying to get a word in edgewise, but Mark Twain says, never argue with an idiot. They will bring you down to their level and beat you with experience. Thank goodness they were able to just cut this call off. That was crazy. My head was really hurting watching that. You know, this is a parole revocation. That means that he was out on parole and he did something to violate it. He's back in jail. This is a revocation hearing. The parole board can either say you're going to have to complete your full sentence, whatever it was, whether it's 5 more years, 1 more year, 20 more years. And, you know, we've seen many parole revocation hearings, but how this seems a little different. They have 3 staff members here. They have head of security. They have head of the entire police station. They had, I forget her role, but that's not every day that they have 3. So, gosh, imagine if you woke up in jail and he was your bunkie. Oof. But let's go to the next one and see if it's any different. And also, when we're done with this, we will look over a little bit of information found on him. And a big thank you to Mandalorian Claire for sending this over. If there are any hearings you think that we should cover, please do it, because this was definitely interesting. So thank you, Claire. With that, let's go.
All right, good morning.
Morning.
Mr. Gentile, how are you today?
Yes, ma'am.
You okay?
I'm glad to be here this morning so we can finally get this situation straightened out.
Okay, so let's just let me just read some information in the record first. Would you tell us your name and DOC number?
Donato Carol Gentile. The only DOC number I have in Louisiana is 2012, from the year 2012, 610610.
So I have in my record. Thank you, sir. And I saw you back in February, but let me just reintroduce myself. My name is Cheryl Renatza, and Ms. Pearl Wise, you should recognize her as well. Seated to my left is Bonnie Jackson.
Ma'am?
Now, Mr. Gentile, we saw you back in February, and you asked that the hearing be stopped, and we requested a mental health evaluation at that time, and I believe that's why you're there at Hunt. And so before we proceed, well, let me just read into the record. At that time, back in February, I read all the allegations of violating your parole. I read all those out. You pled not guilty to every one of those. So before we get started and get into those details, we'd like to hear from Dr. Fleming. Did you expect to have counsel here today?
Well, ma'am, just briefly, if you wouldn't mind, I just got this paperwork of this hearing yesterday, which is fine, because I don't want any more delays. But I don't even have a prison sentence of 5 years, 4 months, and 18 days to have an evaluation of mental health, period. You understand what I'm saying? The only prison sentence I have is, now please hear me out this time, is from St. Tammany Parish. It was a 10-year sentence for Schedule 1, 2, and 3. I have never received in front of a judge a sentence of 5 years, 4 months, and 18 days, ever. In any bit of Louisiana. The only sentence I got out of Judge Perkins in St. Tammany Parish. That was all over the news. My meth lab book was all over the news. You call covering the PDC. I have no sentence to be here right now of that sentence. Not one. Now, if that sentence were true, just one thing to point out, I would not have a 6.0 prison number. I went in front of St. Tammany Parish Parole on 9/25/19 to end my 10-year sentence. And now even if I did have that 5 year, 4 month, 18 days, but I don't, for the few stipulations that I would have gotten anyways, 6 months would have been time served. I have issue with PREA problems with Ms. Fleming from when I was here last time. I tried making my parole officer, that wasn't even my parole officer, Julie Belkis, aware of that. I told her the other day, she makes me uncomfortable. I don't want to be around her. You can't put a man, even if I was going to stay here or need the evaluation, in a position like that. You understand what I'm saying? I don't want to put myself in that position. I wouldn't want nobody else to put
what you're
themselves.
saying, but, you know, we can only go on the records that are given to us by the Department of Corrections.
But
That's-
you're the
So for
parole
you to take up that issue, that's a whole different process, not here today. All right? So,
you don't have
my
a mental
understanding
order for this
that
prison.
based on the information that you've said today, you refused to sign the parole revocation questionnaire. So my question was, I believe you indicated you had retained counsel, or do you have appointed counsel?
Ma'am, I don't need counsel because I don't have a prison sentence that is legal in Louisiana of 5 years,
All right,
4 months, 18 days.
All right, that's not why we're here today,
But ma'am, what is
to
the
make that
sentence?
determination, sir.
If I may, what are the charges that you're seeing me for now?
I will, well, let me read let me see, let me get
The
back to that.
the initial charge is to put me in prison.
Okay, it's production or manufacture of Schedule 2 methamphetamine, simple arson.
Okay, now, what
You were
parish is that
released,
from?
were released from prison June 11th, 2021. Your expiration date is
Okay.
November of 2024.
Ma'am, what parish was that? You should say, what parish did I receive that sentence out of?
Yeah, I don't have that information.
But that's where it's all false.
This is a violation. All I have is information pertaining to the
Lady,
violation.
please, well then, can I beg a single second for a conversation? Could you please, if you have reason for me to be here, records, classification, evidence should have verification of that sentence, correct? Just before it gets, because this is what happened last time, and it's not right. I don't have a sentence to be here, Warden. It's, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Listen to Ms. Ronaldo.
This is gonna go the same way it did before, and as far as my education state, because I know I'm in the right, I didn't do anything wrong, it's not right. You know what I mean?
Let's get through this and then we'll get together after this, okay?
How is it possible this has to go to the roof? You know what I'm saying?
The board has nothing to do with your time
A
computation.
rule board, they should have my sentence
Donato, do
there.
you want this to stop now?
Go ahead, let the
Okay,
parole
let the
board
board
speak,
finish,
or you
all right?
want- you
Let
want
the
to
board
ask-
finish.
And after you explain to me what though, you know what I mean? Maybe I'm missing something? Thank you very much. Okay, ladies, I apologize for the inconvenience.
Yes, sir. We appreciate that. So as I was saying, when we met the last time in February, on February the 8th, you pled not guilty to the allegations of the violations. Is that still your plea?
Yes,
Yes?
yes, ma'am.
All right, well, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Wise for her questions.
Well, at this time, may we hear from the medical director, any input you have, as to, Mr. Gentile?
So Mr. Gentile, as he stated, as the board knows, was here at Elaine Hunt back in June of 21. During that time, similar to what he is saying now, that he does not have a prison sentence, that he does not have charges, that was at issue during that sentence as well, to such a degree that we had a lot of difficulty doing his discharge plan because he would not sign forms for us to get him into adequate services at discharge. He would state that he had no mental health history. He would state that he had no prison sentence and thereby didn't need any further services, and refused to sign up for the Medicaid paperwork that we needed him to sign. We were able last minute to get him into the Exit 318 program through the help of headquarters, again, with much difficulty, and that is where he left from and why we're here today. So similar to the issues we were having in June of 21, that remains. Mr. Gentile refuses any interaction with mental health services. You guys requested the mental health evaluation. Most of it was him refusing, telling me that he was going to refuse to speak with me.
With that being said, do you have a recommendation as to his capabilities to understand the proceedings today?
This has been chronic, this belief that he does not have the prison sentence, which is why before he arrived at Hunt, I had said that he would likely benefit from the assistance of counsel, although he is saying he does not want this delayed at this time.
All right, so Mr. Gentile, do you understand that you are in a parole revocation hearing?
Ma'am, I understand that I'm at a parole revocation hearing. I also understand the realities of the date.
That's it. That's my question. That's all I wanted to know. And
Okay.
I also want to know, do you think that you need help with the assistance of an attorney to proceed with this revocation? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Well, I would like it to define the proceeding with it. I see what I'm failing. Well, I guess what I'm failing to understand, and it pertains to the mental health stuff. I haven't taken mental health pills in years. I don't, you know what I mean? I don't see any reason or need to want. I don't act out. They barely know, you know. I don't do anything wrong. So I guess that's not that I don't understand it as far as I can't comprehend. I don't understand what the reasoning is for it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay. And for me to say that I need an attorney, to wait for an attorney again to go on something with a fact check would be instantly taken care of, and then I can go home, would be, to me, kind of move to the situation. I just want it done, you know what I mean, peacefully, as resolutely as possible, so I can go. But you know what I mean?
Okay.
I'm sorry for babbling, but yeah, I mean, I'm trying to be respectful as I can about the situation. You know what I mean?
I appreciate that. I really do appreciate you trying to be as respectful as you can. Now, when you left prison in June of 2021, did you expect back this soon?
Did I expect what? Excuse
To
me,
be
ma'am?
back soon. Yeah, when you released, when you paroled from Hunt in June of 2021, did you expect to be coming back this soon?
No, ma'am. To reiterate again, I just like to explain a little bit where I'm coming from, so everybody knows where I only went to that program because I was a day after the rap sheet that they gave me for this 5-year sentence. So I only went there to make sure I got out. Back then I had there was no commitment to be here. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now please bear with me. But no, I caused no problems, no crimes. I've done nothing wrong. Do you understand what I'm saying? It just baffles me to the fullest. You know what I'm saying? I just want to resolve. Thank you. I'm sorry.
And here's what in resolving it, I find that you have violated the conditions of parole that's set forth in the paperwork from the parole officer. And my recommendation is that your parole be revoked and your original sentence be imposed.
What is my original sentence?
Okay. All right. Mr. DOC.
Yes, ma'am.
Listen for a moment, okay? I show that you were originally sentenced out of St. Tammany on March the 22nd, 2013, and you received a sentence of 5 years, 4 months, and 18 days. All right?
Okay. Do you realize it's in 2022, right?
I know what day it is. You asked, Mr. Gentile, you asked for clarification.
But that would max me out the sentence, ma'am. If I started in 2013, it's 2022. It was only a 5-year, 4 months, and 18-day sentence. It's done. Even if I did get it, which I didn't get it.
All right. Well, Mr. Gentile, I was trying to give you information, but you want what you want. I can't give you.
All right, well, ma'am, what I'd like to do is I want to talk to the warden about this, and I'd like to report that I'd like the law enforcement agency that is closest to St. Tammany Parish to be notified of this so that I can speak with them and we can get this situation resolved. You just told me yourself, ma'am, when my sentence began. Enjoy your day. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to vote to revoke your supervision and order you to serve the remainder of the sentence.
What would be the remainder of the sentence?
All right, and my vote today also, Mr. Gentile is revoked. I find you guilty of violating conditions 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, sir. So today your parole's been revoked.
What is the? All right, listen.
Anyone else feel like they just lost 10 years of their lifespan? Whoa. You can't fix stupid, as they say. It's just bizarre. He reminds me of like a character out of a Quentin Tarantino movie. He'd be like, I don't know, he'd be like that role of like the bumbling bad guy who can never get out of his way, or maybe like that guy who you kind of feel bad for, but at the same time you just are yelling at the TV screen the entire time at him, like he's such. You have to say there's has to be a mental illness, but at the same time, maybe he just had too many illegal substances throughout his life, and there's just not much going on up there anymore. I really, they ordered him to get a mental evaluation, and and she's sitting there basically saying he refused to see me the entire. I mean, you can only imagine the poor woman what it was like having to spend time with him. Oh my gosh, I'll say it again. Imagine if your roomie, if he was your roommate, you're in prison, you have to spend the next how many years? 5 years, 4 months, 18 days with this guy as your cellie. Oh my gosh. I was really hoping Miss Jackson would have had the opportunity to explain what's going on, because when it all comes down to it, he got his 5 year, 4 month, and 18-day sentence in, what was it, 2013. And as he pointed out, it's 2022. So, I mean, it's been more than 5 years, 4 months, and 18 days, obviously. But I'm guessing he got new charges. Frankly, the dates are all kind of weird. It was like they were trying to release him from prison, they were talking about, and he's refusing to sign the papers. Here they are. They're saying that they're trying to release him. This was back before he got revoked. So it's a year ago or something, or 6 months. And but he's saying, I'm not signing because I shouldn't even be here. And they're like, we're trying to get you out. I'm not going to sign. I'm not supposed to be here. But then the most bizarre thing, not the most bizarre, I don't know what can possibly be most bizarre in this scenario. But what's strange is that in both the last hearing and this hearing, so this was like 3 months. So it was February 8th and then April 8th. So basically, March is 2 months between hearings, if my notes are correct. If they are. And he, or April 6th, this is what it says there. Okay. He says, I'm ending the interview. I want the police to be here. And it's like, who asks for the police? You're in a jail cell. You're in this case, it's actually, I think it's a prison. And you're asking for the police? It's just like, what? I mean, he just has no understanding for a career criminal about how things work. It's like, who in their parole revocation hearing says, I'm cutting this off, I'm going to have the police. In his mind, he thinks the police are going to show up and say, you're right. You are illegally arrested. You shouldn't be here. And he stops the two opportunities that he had. Now, we can stop all of this discussion that we're having and saying the real villain in this whole thing is the system. Here is a man that I don't. It seems to me that you say he's not here. Like a public. I feel bad for any public defender that would be put in position to talk to him, because I don't think they would get anything done. But this person, I don't think this. Yes, he probably doesn't have a low IQ, or super low IQ. Like, he's able to process things, right? Like, he understands. And Miss Wise asked him, "Do you know you're in a revocation hearing?" Yes, I know. It's more like this stubborn insistence that he shouldn't be there. He doesn't know why he's here. He doesn't have a sentence. It's kind of interesting how his DOC number is 610 610. It's like out of all, like, it's just some perfect number for him. It's just like but maybe it's like and I have no idea, I'm not a doctor, but maybe it's like some form of autism or something that is I'm sure a medical clinician that he could be diagnosed with so many things that if you want to look at it on the other side, that you could say the system is broken and, he needs help, like he needs medical help. But I have no idea. Now this is something that I found. Now the date, this is the day it was published, so it's not clear to me when this happened, but it's this. So imagine you are a tenant of an apartment and you find yourself home on a Monday. You're minding your own business. You're doing, the things that you would do on a Monday. And all of a sudden something comes out of the attic, and it happens to be this man. Turns out the subject, Gregory Bonnet, oh, wait a minute. This is not the same man. I wonder. Okay. Why did I pull this up when I searched it? That is so strange. Okay, I was wrong. I have no idea why I thought this was the same person. So my apologies. Is it the tattoos were somewhat similar? I don't know, but that's not the same person. So I apologize, but I thought that he was living in her attic. And so, but here is something I did find. It's his dating profile. And what's interesting about this is not to do mockery of him, even, as he, but it's more about to bring a perception of, you know, everyone views themselves still as I don't know if I can get this right. But apparently they have a dating thing for his. This is the URL for inmates, and shares a little bit of information. Hello, my name is Donato. I'm 34 years old. I'm Irish Italian and weigh 180 pounds, 5'10". I have a lot of tattoos, but I can dress in clothes that covers them up. And look like the guy next door. Well, almost. See, it's like a sense of humor. My release date is February of 2016, and the poor guy, that's what he was talking about, his release dates. I'm fortunate enough to still have my career, and here's an interesting thing, as a foreman with a demolition company when I am released. And I don't know how that could be possible if he's has an arson charge. Imagine getting an arson charge and being a foreman at a demolition company. It doesn't mix. The work is rough, but the pay is great and enables me to do things in life I want to do. In any relationship, romantic or otherwise, I believe in honesty, trust, and being able to count on each other while having good communication. I mean, if you read this, I just wouldn't connect the two. It just seems like, you know, I'm hoping to start a friendship that develops into something more. I'm just looking for the right person to laugh and enjoy life with, make each other happy. Just a few of my interests are genres of music from country to rock to anything outdoors and trying new things. I can be adventurous occasionally, but then I could slow everything down. I know how to cook, so a night at home would just be great. I mean, this guy is who, if he wrote his own profile, man, that's pretty good. He seems like the dream catch. And I love to beach. I'll end here. If what I've written interests you and you want to know more, write back. Tell me about yourself. Also, at this time, the housing unit I'm in cannot receive pictures, but that will change soon. Have a good day. Hey, smile. Here it is, 610, 610. So he's an anomaly to me. He's a character out of Quentin Tarantino movie. I don't know. You tell me. But with that, I'm going to let you go.
This is the case for Alisha DOC, DOC 472330. We have Deborah DOC, who is the mother who would like to speak. We have Peggy Broughton, who is a spiritual advisor who would like to speak. And we have Janice McBride, who's a victim who would like to speak.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. My name is Cheryl Renatz. I'm serving as chairman today. Ms. DOC, would you introduce yourself to everybody? Tell us your name and your DOC number.
My name is Alisha D DOC number 472330.
All right. Let me explain to everybody how the process works. I'm going to just read a little bit of identifying information into the record, after which I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Jones. Your case has been assigned to Mr. Jones, so he'll ask you some questions. We'll allow other board members the opportunity for questions or comments. We'll hear from Warden LeBlanc, and then we'll hear from those folks who've indicated they'd like to speak. At the very end, Ms. DOC, you'll be allowed to make a statement before we reach a decision. Okay? So you are, excuse me, Alisha J. DOC.
Yes, ma'am.
472330 is your DOC number. You're classified as a first felony offender. You were sentenced October 31st, 2003 for manslaughter conviction. You received a 30-year DOC sentence. You do have a parole eligibility date, January 15, 2028. However, your good time date comes before that. Your good time date is January 20th, 2027, and full term is July 15, 2032. Is that information correct? All right, I'm going to turn it over to Mr.
I think they froze just,
Oh,
I can't
no.
hear them.
No, she's still on it.
Oh,
Welcome.
You're still muted, Mr. Jones. Ms. Teresa, can you help him unmute? There you go.
Ms. Disdale,
yes, sir.
good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good, doing good. Ms. Disdale, I see you've been through several programs since you've been incarcerated. Can you tell me some of those programs you've been through?
Yes, sir. There's numerous of them. I've taken substance abuse twice. I've taken anger management, reentry. One of the classes that I particularly think that have impacted me is moral recognition therapy. That class particularly helped me because I was able to deal with broken relationships. I was able to deal with different situations with my substance abuse. And I was able to set forth short and long-term goals. I think that was a class that really impacted me the most.
Yes, you talk about substance abuse. What age were you and what drugs were you using back when this happened?
I was on crack cocaine.
And what age did you start your drug use?
At 15,
15? And what drug did you start with?
marijuana.
Okay, start off with marijuana and got over on crack cocaine.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you said you have did the substance abuse a couple times, substance abuse classes.
Yes, sir. I've taken substance abuse twice. I'm also a mentor in the reentry drug court program.
Great, good. What's your work assignment right now?
I'm a certified mentor.
Okay, and that's in the drug program, drug
Yes.
treatment.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mental health. Have you had any mental health issues or while incarcerated or before?
Not while I've been incarcerated. As a teenager, I did have mental health issues, dealing with substance abuse, depression. I also had a personality borderline disorder at one time.
What do you feel caused you to lean towards? Was it bad company or what with the drug abuse? What led to that?
For the drug abuse, I had a history with my family that was already doing drugs. And I think, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Take your time.
I have no excuse for being on drugs. There's really no excuse.
Okay.
I can't think of anything to give you any kind of excuse because there's no excuse for my actions.
Any type of abuse or anything at a young age?
No, sir. Well, I was molested by my uncle.
Okay. What age was that?
Like 9.
9? Okay. 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 I don't have anything else to add this time.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Mr. Roche.
Good morning, Ms. Desotell. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Good. Thank you for asking. Ms. Desotell, what is your expectation this morning? What are you requesting this panel do for you this morning?
What am I requesting? I'm requesting immediate parole.
Okay. And you want immediate parole eligibility.
Yes, sir.
And you've served, what, 18 years? And your sentence was 30 years. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
And you already have a good time date within 5 or 6 years.
Yes, sir.
How long were you practicing the profession that you were in at the time of the offense?
About 2 years, 2.5 years.
Did you know how dangerous that profession was?
Can you repeat yourself? I didn't quite hear you.
Did you know how dangerous that profession was?
At that age, I don't think I really considered the danger that I was placing myself in, especially not with my drug addiction. It was like I really wasn't living in reality, to be honest with you. I was just living life as normal as I thought it was at the time.
So you were barely 19 years old.
Yes, sir.
Had you completed high school?
No, sir.
Did you have any vocational skills?
No, sir.
When did you move from your parents' home?
When I was 15.
Okay. Madam Chairman, I have no further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Roche. Mr. Marabella?
Ms. Desautel, you've indicated that you were doing drugs for a long time. And you've taken substance abuse, I think you've said twice, while you've been in prison. You've also, you said one of your most important classes, or one of the most important programs you took, is MRT. Tell me a little bit about how you plan, assuming you can get released before long, tell me how you plan to be able to stay off of drugs.
As of right now, I'm a mentor in the reentry court program, and being able to give back to the ladies and realize the state that they are in and that they're redeemable because I was redeemable. Getting acclimated back into the community, having a support team around me and being able to mentor others.
Tell me about the support team you hope to have around you.
Miss Peggy Broughton and her team out of Lafayette wants to help me out. They've given me housing and a job. And
what about AA meetings, NA meetings, that sort of thing? What are your plans? Are you familiar with the 12-step program? Obviously, you're a mentor in the reentry program. I assume you are familiar with the 12 steps, are you?
Yes, sir. I actually facilitate right now an AA in our dorm. I'm very familiar with the 12-step program. I've also taken Celebrate Recovery. One of the first things that I had to do was acknowledge that I had an addiction and that I was powerless to overcome my addiction. And I know that I need other people to help me.
How long are you going to have to fight this addiction?
Well, the thing is, I think that I'm strong now, because even in prison, if I wanted to get on drugs, it's available in the prison, but I choose not to affiliate myself with the individuals that I was before I came to prison.
Do
And
do
I'm
you think, do
choosing
you
to-
believe you are still a drug addict?
I believe that I'm a delivered addict, sir.
A what?
A delivered addict, meaning that I believe that I've been delivered from that area as long as I don't put myself back in that same situation. You can look at it as a recovering addict or a delivered addict.
All right, I accept that. I also note that you went through the sexual trauma group. Tell me about that. Did that help you? Obviously, you indicated to Mr. Jones, I believe it was Mr. Jones, that you had some abuse when you were younger by an uncle of yours. Tell me what, if anything, you learned through the sexual trauma group.
The sexual trauma group was really informative. The lady that came and spoke with us out of New Orleans, basically letting us know that whether you're a child or even if you're an adult, that you have a say to say no, and that even if it was a child, that it's not your fault.
And I believe it was Mr. Roche that asked you, how long were you in the profession that you were in when all of this happened? What did you learn about prostitution from your sexual trauma group?
I don't really recall if the lady spoke about prostitution. I know for myself, prostitution, that was a form of me supporting my drug habit. It was demoralizing myself, but I allowed other people to abuse me.
Thank you very much. That's all the questions I have, Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Marabella. Mr. Wise.
You know, I see you have a adjusted good time date on 1/20/27. I think Mr. Roche had talked about it. I want to ask you one question here. I've read over all your report and everything. When you shot the victim, where did you shoot the victim at?
We were in a struggle, and I don't really recall. The police reports indicate that the bullet wound went in his left side of his chest.
But where did it happen at? They said he was pulled over on the side of the road. Y'all struggling on the side of the road, or tell me what happened. Then they said
We were in a van. That night I left. I was supposed to be driving him to his house, and he was going to give me some money to call a cab. But then he started talking about wanting to have sex, and I didn't want to have sex. And we got into a struggle, and I shot him and I left.
okay. All right. I don't have any other questions.
So, Ms. Disotell, you mentioned to us that you, at some point, you had a mental health diagnosis. And I think when you were 15 and 16, I see some treatment facilities that you were in. So since you've been incarcerated, have you been followed by mental health?
No, ma'am.
But have you had a mental health evaluation in prison?
I believe when I first got incarcerated, I did. The mental health did assess me. I think that anybody that comes in are assessed, but I don't think that it was in the extreme that I need any psychiatric medication or anything like that.
Okay, good. I don't have any other questions. We'll hear from, we'd like to hear from your family. Your mother, Ms. Deborah Disotell, I believe, has indicated she'd like to speak.
Yes, hello, my name is Deborah Disotell. I'm the mother of Alisha Disotell. I would like to start by acknowledging and apologizing for my daughter's action the night of July 15, 2002, and for the sorrow it brought to the McBride family. I was so angry when all this happened. It brought me pain, anguish, and heartache. As time passed, I have been able to witness an incredible transformation happen within my daughter, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. Alicia has taken every opportunity to further her education since 2002. She has received her Bachelor's of Arts, completed multi-soft skills classes, and become a mentor to other inmates. My daughter is not the same woman who walked through those doors 18 years ago, and I could not be prouder of the woman she has become. Alicia will have to live with the decision she made that night for the rest of her life. She has tremendous remorse and has looked to her Lord and Savior for forgiveness. I'm willing to help Alicia in any way possible. She will have my complete love and support when she gets released, just as she has through all these years. I'm asking you today, please give my daughter a second chance and grant her parole. I believe if given the opportunity, she will be a positive access to her community. Thank you for your time and consideration in this matter.
Thank you, Ms. Disotell. We appreciate your remarks. I think, let's see if I can find, we have Miss Peggy that would like to speak, spiritual advisor. Ma'am, could you unmute your phone and then introduce yourself and tell us what you'd like us to know?
Yes, my name is Peggy Broughton, and we have been visiting Alicia along with other groups that mentor there. I'm actually housing Edna Gibson that was just paroled. But we have fallen in love with Alicia. We find her to be very sincere and a true leader in there. And we have guaranteed her housing and a job and to be plugged into our church here as a support system. And we greatly love her. And I know I don't have too much time to speak, but that's what I have to say.
Well, thank you, Ms. Broughton. We appreciate you sharing those remarks with us.
Madam Chairman,
Yes, sir.
can we hear from Juan LeBlanc before we hear from the victim?
Sure. Thank you. Warden LeBlanc.
Hey, how are y'all doing? I do want to mention, I know we already discussed all of the programs she had been in previously. She's done everything she needed to do while she was here. She's hadn't had a write-up in over 9 years. She's a low risk score with the Lorna. We did mention her mental health diagnosis, but she's a level care 5. So she's not being actively treated for anything or actively seen by the mental health staff. She's trying to start over her plans if she would be granted today. She's trying to move on to create a new life for herself. She would not go back to that area in Shreveport. She would start over again in Lafayette with some new support system. So she's done everything she needed to do while she's housed with us. In addition to focusing on herself, she's also helping other offenders. We also have Assistant Warden Pamela Board here. She's over our court programming and directly supervises her on a daily basis, was sitting in on her behalf for support. If she had anything else she wanted to add or.
Hello, everyone. I just want to say that I've known Alicia since she's been in reentry court, and I took over the program in August of 2017. She's in terms of being a mentor and somebody I can depend on. She's rock solid. I do tend to sometimes give her some more intricate cases in terms of behavior because I know that she has the patience to deal with those cases. And she's done a very good job while she's been in the program.
Thank you. Appreciate the input. Ms. McBride, we'd like to hear from you. You're still on there.
I got it.
Yeah.
All right, thank you for listening to me. However, I want to say one thing. This was about a murder of my brother. Not one time during this conversation have I heard about the murder of my brother. And it was murder. She was charged with second-degree murder. The reason it was dropped down to manslaughter is because she wanted us to drop the drug charges. Because of my mother going through all of this and my family, we agreed to do that. All I've never once heard her apologize, not once. I did hear her mother say it, but I never have heard her say it. She has caused us so much grief. As you can tell, it's very raw still with us. She doesn't care that she took a life. She does care that she was on drugs. I don't get that. I don't understand. And I know it's not my choice on what's going to happen to her, but I can tell you, this woman is a murderer. My brother did not try to rape her. If you look in the documents, you'll see what his alcohol content was. He was killed at the American Legion, by the way. And that's where he was a officer there. Do you think he was going to try to rape that pathetic thing? I'm sorry. I'm going to try to calm down because I am very angry. This woman, she can cry and she can twist and she can do all of that stuff. It's just manipulative. She is a killer. I don't know what else to tell you. I'm sorry to be so brash, but I can tell you, I miss my brother and she killed him and he doesn't get a second chance. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Ms. McBride. We do appreciate you sharing your remarks with us. Okay. At this time, Alisha, it's your opportunity if you'd like to make a statement before we vote, and your comments or statement needs to be directed to the board.
Yes, ma'am. My actions and decision has caused the McBride family much anguish and much pain. Though I was not able to say it. There's not a day that I don't think about what I did. And I have to live with that for the rest of my life. I cannot undo what I did, but I have made strides to change the person that I once was. There's no words to convey to the McBride family of what I have caused. There's hurt and there's pain. And I really don't know what to say. But I'm very remorseful. I'm very sorry. And I'm sorry.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Jones, you prepared to vote?
Yes, ma'am, I'm prepared. My vote today, and I don't know if I can word it just right, would be to grant for the good time date, which is coming up, I think, 2027, a good time date.
Mm-hmm.
And so my vote today would be to grant. I'm not
Okay,
sure.
do you want to make her parole eligible prior to that date?
If I can, yes. Parole eligible after, say, 60%, which would be like, what, 2020?
Yeah, so that would be immediate parole eligibility.
That's correct.
Okay, great. Mr. Roche?
Madam Chairman, based on the positive remarks from the staff at LCIW, good programming, good organizational participation, a very good conduct record, my vote would be parole eligibility after serving 60%, which would be 18 years.
Mr. Marabella?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Ms. Desatel, you have done a lot of things while you've been in prison. You've got some great remarks from the warden. You've accomplished a lot of things while you've been in there. You did kill a man, and it's not our position to relitigate the facts. If I've said this before, if my denying your eligibility for parole would bring back Miss McBride's brother, I would do it, but it won't. And our responsibility, while we absolutely sympathize with Miss McBride, is to see what you've done and who you've become while you've been in prison. And based upon those things, I do agree with my colleagues, Mr. Roche and Mr. Jones. I would grant you parole eligibility after serving 60% of your time, which would be the 18 years. That would be my vote.
Thank you, Mr. Marabella. Mr. Wise? I'm sorry, Mr. Wise, you're on mute.
I see you have a good time day coming up in 2027, the first, about 6 years from now. Also, the crime that was taking place here in your criminal activity that you've been involved in before that, and also strong law enforcement and victims opposition, I'm gonna vote to deny your request today.
Thank you, Mr. Wise. Yours is a difficult case, Ms. Desatel. I'm going to concur with my colleagues to grant your request to make you parole eligible after having served 60% of your sentence, which is the 18 years. Based on the remarks that's been made by both Warden LeBlanc and Ms. Bordelon, the outstanding academic achievements that you've done a lot of really hard work. I do extend my sincere condolences to the McBride family and want them to understand that you are not allowed by law to communicate with them in any way. And we didn't afford you that opportunity here today either. So today you've received one unfavorable vote, but 4 favorable votes. So we will make the recommendation for parole eligibility on your behalf. Good luck to you. Warden LeBlanc, I think that concludes our business at your facility. So we will adjourn at 12:27. Thanks for accommodating us today.
I don't know. I felt like that last statement from Ms. Renazzo was a little insensitive. It wasn't about her. It wasn't about her apologizing to them. It was even stating that she was sorry, and I didn't hear that. I did hear her mother say it, which was interesting. It's rare, actually. We don't really see that often. But here's something interesting. Here is something interesting. We'll go over the court, and then she has been free, and we'll go over some of that information too. So yeah, there's a lot of different ways that people might look at this case, but I agree with the victim's sister in the sense that the whole hearing was completely ignoring. I thought that there was a victim there. It was that barely mentioned anything. She just stated that he had tried to assault her, and she shot him, and they kind of just took it for what it is. And you might argue, hey, he was picking her up. maybe he really did try to do that. She shouldn't have gotten so much time. She was defending herself. There could be a lot where you might argue that, hey, she's serving too harsh a sentence. I've heard, it's interesting where you might say that this can go. Now, here's the facts. They say, as a matter of record, it shows that on July 15, 2002, the victim, who's a Vietnam vet, I don't know if he was a combat vet, but was found in his van near the American Legion post, which we frequented. Investigation disclosed he had last been seen drinking heavily at a Shreveport bar in the company of De Soto. De Soto, whose record reflects a prostitution-related offense, was at the bar for the purpose of engaging in that act. When the victim and De Soto left the bar, the victim said De Soto was going to drive him home and that he would pay for her cab back to the bar. The following day, detectives located the suspect, De Soto, at a motel near the bar. The defendant claimed the victim tried to assault her and that she shot him in self-defense. However, the victim's wallet was never found. Well, De Soto had not reported the alleged attempted assault, but had called a third party to drive her from the scene. So, it's prior to imposing sentence, the court considered a pre-sentencing report. The defendant's statement of remorse, the victim impact testimony, the defendant's statement of remorse, and all related police reports. The court found that the act was cold, cruel, and without remorse until her arrest. She left the victim in the van to bleed out. The victim had a blood alcohol content of 0.291, so the court did not believe that De Soto's self-serving version of the event. He would have been too intoxicated to have attacked her, they suppose. De Soto had been in possession of Pepsi when she went to jail. She had a criminal record, convictions of solicitation for immoral purposes, interfering with an officer, possession of paraphernalia, obstruction of public misrepresentation during booking, possession of MJ, and disturbing the peace. De Soto admitted she was addicted. She grew up in a dysfunctional family. Her father lost his life in a deal gone bad when she was 14. She was 18 at the time of the offense. The court found defendant's conduct manifested deliberate cruelty to the victim was vulnerable due to extreme intoxication. I mean, that it is really intoxicated. The court found no justification. The court noted that the Cheryl had no prior felonies, but she had not. She had many, or not lived a law-abiding life. Vietnam veteran, here it is. That was a youthful picture of him, of course, and she does not look in great shape right there. Now they have an episode, if maybe you've seen it, it's on ID Go, season 1, episode 4. But don't leave yet because I still have more news for you. So she was paroled and people rallied around her. After 20 years behind bar, a woman gets a car through a new charity for ex-prisoners. This is her with the charity and her new car. And I think that's great that they do that. They're trying to give people a second chance, give them a start in life. Some people might say, hey, it's not fair, but you know what it is. So Alisha, she was serving a 30-year prison sentence, was recently commuted by the governor. And this is in December 2nd, 2021, when she acts in disbelief despite sitting behind the steering wheel after learning that she is the recipient of a road-ready Nissan Altima. the non-for-profit Freedom Rides with financial support also from Corrections Technology Campus. Outside Louisiana Department of Public Safety Correction Baton Rouge facility, it was first ever surprise car reveal for Freedom Rides. It was the first one they gave away. Now, when Alisha arrived, she's after 2 decades behind bars. Instead of giving a speech, she was gifted a car. Now, they commuted her 30-year sentence, so she was getting out basically 10 years earlier. It was founded in 2020 by ex-inmate Ben Castro. Guys, this is not where the story ends, though. Sorry about that. So they go through the whole thing. First ever car, keep the momentum going. I mean, they feel, you know, in this situation, it seems that they really feel that she deserves a second chance, and they put all this around her. She's going to put her savings to buying a home. And I've been married, I've had children, but this is right up there. Castro said, today we found someone who really deserves it and is needed. And they were so proud of her. The Louisiana Department of Corrections actually did a whole YouTube series on her. It's 5 minutes and 48 seconds long, showing her success story. Returning workers are highly skilled, highly trained, motivated candidates. Help your business and your community by hiring from the elite pool of candidates. And I can drop this link in the description, but it's you know, it's her talking about her job and what keeps her motivated to continue and going forward, and her boss. And I am then sad to share that she is back in jail. This is, you know, Richard pointed it out. She's been locked up for 86 days at the age of 40. So we don't know why. You know, you have her booking history right here. And you can see in it, it shows her 8/8/2001, 12/21/2001, 12/22/2001, 11/25/2003. That was the big one. And now back in jail. 5/28/2023. So I don't know for certain, but we might, I would think we will see her having a parole revocation hearing maybe any day now. And if we do, I will make sure that you know about it. But it could be anything that gets her back in. You know, she's on parole again. It can be anything. We've seen every type of scenario where people get locked back up. So I just don't know. But it is letting a lot of people down who believed in her and who but I'll keep you posted. And with that, I'll let you go.